Welcome folks to another episode of Coach Joshino, and today I'm looking at a sub 4K player who's playing as a Makoa on Frozen Guard. I didn't initially know it was Frozen Guard because of the maps being bugged and not showing up, so bear that in mind when I'm talking about the champion picks first off. So it is competitive mode, and you do see a lot of champions that are level 4s and 5s, so these are some newer players to the game, so bear that in mind when you're looking at Dark X and how his team's made up and what skill level they are. And it's better really for me to coach somebody that's worse rather than better, so I can give more tips and tricks. So let's get into it, and I hope that you enjoyed this game. Today we're watching Defex, and they're actually the first one with the pick on competitive mode. And Makoa is coming out, so pretty good pick there. Makoa is quite powerful this patch, and definitely one of the best tankers, and good to take away from the enemy team. Anyway, let's move on to quickly look at what the enemy team's picking up. Charlene, not exactly the best thing against a Makoa, but just generally a good damage dealer. And a Skye. A first pick Skye, folks. And our team has got the Mave and the Buck. We've got a double flank, but a double flank and all direct damage. Interesting picks. Okay, the Mave at the moment is quite strong. The Mave can take on the Skye, can take on the Charlene. The Torvald is going to be a little bit of an issue unless we get a Drogos or something strong, maybe another Bomb King or something on our team to take down those shields. Let's get a healer. Yes, we got a Ying. Level 5 Ying. Hello. And now, a damaged dealer. Like a Drogos. Cough cough. Or maybe a Cassie. I mean, you could go with a Cassie. Maybe a Victor if you've got aim. Okay, Cassie's okay. We can deal with that. So the enemy team's going for the double tanks. The Ruckus and the Torvald, I don't really know whether that really works that well. And now we can see on the enemy team, all direct damage. Our team, all direct damage. Something to consider though when you're picking that if you have all full direct damage, then Haven is going to be the pickup, and vice versa. If you have all AoE damage, then direct that the blast shield's going to be the pickup for the enemy team. Oh, the enemy team don't have a healer, which isn't ideal. So I'm going to put my money on Defex team here and pulling this one off. But this is interesting picks on this competitive mode, and the picks were interesting last time as well. We got a solo Ruckus and a Pip instead of a full-on healer, and the Pip did play like a flanker, so that was unfortunate for Defex. So hopefully this time he has actually got, he's the tank, he's got a healer, maybe two flankers. It wasn't the best pick, but we've got a damage dealer. So we'll be looking from, let's have a look, number 1, and that's our Makoa. We'll look from the Makoa's perspective and see what they pick up as well once the timer starts ticking down. And we are on Frozen Guard. One pickup could have been Kinessa here, and Charlene's actually pretty good on this map. It's just that the names of the maps are bugged on the start of the comp, so unfortunately I couldn't see what the map was, so I couldn't say, oh, this champion's great for this map. The Cassie does work out okay, and the Makoa can work out. The one thing about this is that the Ruckus and the Torvald will probably work out quite well here, because there's no AoE damage to splash them on the point, there's no Drogos to sort of give that pressure on the point, and if that Ruckus and that Torvald get on the point together on the enemy team, then they could survive that. And because the Torvald isn't dependent on healing, he's got the shields, he might be able to survive, and with shielding the Ruckus on that side. So let's hope that our team gets some Wrecker online. Makoa did pick up the Haven. In this situation, maybe getting on the point, maybe Master Riding or something else would be more useful in this mode, because although they are all direct damage, it's only 7% with this new OB43, so it has been nerfed, and it doesn't have as much use against the enemies. And the Victor here, picking up Deft Hands, that speaks a big volume. I don't think that's going to be very useful for that Victor. He should have picked up Cauterize or something along those lines this match because of the Ying. And we get to see straight off, he's going in, he's pulled out the Torvald, the one champion he doesn't really want to pull out. He doesn't really do anything against. He wants to be looking at those squishy flankers. He should probably just be ignoring the Torvald at the moment because he can't take him on. That was actually a good kill on the Skye, though, being quite aggressive. He wasted his shell shield. He didn't need to use his shell. I mean his whatever his F is. And there's actually two really low champions on the backline there, and he's still focusing on that Torvald. The thing is, you've got to allow your tank, your damage dealers, and everyone else to deal with that Torvald, and you to just ignore him for the moment. And because there were two backliners there that were really low health, he could have picked off either of those, and that would have made a lot more of a difference as he was going to go down. I think actually in that situation, it was a bit of positioning. He shouldn't have actually been in the fight still when all of his teammates were down. There's a lot of positioning issues with the whole team because there's two flankers in the team, so the team's really split up. And you can see the Cassie's gone the whole way around and backlining there, flanking, and it's not really working out for them. Actually, Defex was on 1 health there, but survived. That was actually a good getaway there with the shell spin and the shell shield. But again, he's looking at the Torvald. Maybe he was thinking about pulling him in, but the Torvald and the Ruckus shouldn't really be his focus. It should have been the Cassie's focus, but the Cassie is trying to play as a flanker. So a bit of an unfortunate team pickup here. I don't know. Unfortunate for our Makoa. But because the Torvald's on his own here, it does make sense to take him on. He doesn't have any allies around, and he is the only target. So that was actually a nice pickup from Defex. That was the time that you should go for the Torvald because he was alone. He couldn't really do anything. He couldn't survive. And now, a shell shield could have been useful there. If the Ruckus had been a bit more aggressive, it could have been the thing to save the Cassie trying to get away there. But the Ruckus wasn't aggressive and just backed off and let them get away. But if that Ruckus had been a bit more aggressive, they would have got the kill there. Again, the Torvald, there are other options here. But the big thing here is that the Cassie's not there, and the Cassie's backlining and not taking on this Torvald, who is the one that really she needs to be focusing on, getting that. She has got Wrecker. Interesting pickup of Rejuvenate, not exactly sure why. But yes, please Cassie, come get involved. Let the flankers get to the back line in this match. Defex trying his hardest, really. He can be a bit more aggressive here because there was the Torvald down. There was a time to be a bit more aggressive, to start knocking people off the horses, just harassing people. And this is it. This is quite good play. He could have actually. I think he missed his hook there. It's always, remember to always hook slightly to the right of the enemy because the hook comes out left. And here again, Torvald just on the point. There's nobody else around, so it is the right thing to go for this Torvald. And as the Makoa, the Makoa here can be more aggressive. You can let the Ying backline and stay near the payload and stop things from happening. The shell spin could have come out earlier there. It could have dodged all of the damage. And that was actually a really good hook though on the Victor. I've got to give him that. He saw the ultimate coming out, and there was a very good reaction there. And also the shell shield to save himself. That was good. That was a good combo. And let's see what they're going to pick up next. So the Makoa probably, he's like, what should I get? He could have got the Master Riding here because he has got a 7 streak, but getting onto that point, letting his team backline, give pressure on them when they're not on the point, because their whole team is all about getting on the point. And the Ruckus and the Torvald haven't taken Master Riding, so it could have been an option for him to get there first, and then let his team fight them on the back lines when they're outside of the point, rather than just having a melee on the point and maybe letting them have the point here without that Master Riding. But the Wrecker is good because it's against the Ruckus and the Torvald. And kill to heal? Oh no, he's not kill to heal. Life Rip, it's an okay card on Makoa. Not insane. Again, he's focusing on the Torvald when he should be. He actually got the good hook on. He had a good try of a hook on the Charlene, but maybe being more aggressive on looking for those squishier champions to go for, like this here. That was some good play, going for that Sky, who was one of the ones he can take down pretty easily. And Torvald's wasted his ultimate there. Pretty good play. Now the Makoa, not just the Makoa, the flankers as well. They need to get off the point. They need to start zoning. Leave the Ying on the point. The Ying can deal with it, and the Ying can put down clones outside of the point to heal them. You don't want to stay on the point here because it's just letting them get onto the point. I mean, they're not getting here because I think it's just a skill thing, but that Torvald there could have pretty easily jumped onto the point, and then they all come together. And like this, they are actually coming here for a fight, and the Makoa is actually relying on the ultimate there, but it wasn't enough. Look at the rest of his team. The rest of his team was down. The whole team there made a big mistake by not being aggressive, not trying to knock them off other horses, take the fight outside of the point building. Don't let that Torvald get on the point. Don't let the Ruckus get on the point. That's a big thing about this match, and why I don't think it really panned out there for them. And again, coming in now, he shouldn't be going in so aggressively. He has stopped at quite a distance, but really waiting for your team there, because there was actually, it was mainly the Cassie being low, and 2 of them were down, waiting to respawn. And the Book's just made a mistake there. I think they're down. He could have gone forward there, given the shield to Book, and probably saved the Book's life there. That could have been one thing that he could have done. You need to be quite... The thing is, you can be aggressive with the shell spins as well, because you can shell spin in and shield somebody, or shell spin in and hook somebody, and that's quite a big thing about Makoa. Unfortunately, they do seem to be deathballing here, and this guy got their ultimate off, I think. Oh no, they didn't. That was just an odd one. It sounded a bit like the time is ticking. And down there, that was the wrong use of the shell spin. But that did not go too well for the Makoa. And the rest of the team are hurt for that. You've just got to be making sure that you use the shield at the right time. Only the Sky has Wrecker on this team as well, so your shield will stay up for probably its duration, even with the damage from this enemy team. And has our Makoa picked up any more items? He picked up Morale Boost instead of Master Riding. Like I said, he probably needs to be getting onto that point before the Torvald and the Ruckus get there. They haven't taken the Master Riding, so it could be one of the upper hands that they get. Like before, they lost the point because the Torvald and the Ruckus were able to get on there, and because they're such a tank, and because they do synergize a bit with each other, because the Torvald can heal, they can shield the Ruckus, and the Ruckus does the 50% damage reduction on the point. So they are quite the death ball when they actually get onto the point, but when they're not on the point, they're actually in trouble. So getting to the point, stopping them from getting onto the point, and then holding it whilst they're outside is quite important. Unfortunately for the Makoa as well, just caught out. It's sort of a bit of trickling here happening with the team. They're all going in one by one. We can go back to the Makoa here. The spawners are on their side here, luckily. And able to just take down the Torvald, and the enemy team are now split up. And like I said, this Makoa should probably be aggressive now, going onto that right side. He should have gone up there to stop them, just in case any of them got through on their horses. He should have seen that the 2 allies went to the left to knock people off their horses, and he should have gone to their right. It's just all about zoning and stopping the enemy team from getting to the point. Now we can see a bit more itemization. Nothing picked up level 2 yet. Maybe still thinking about it. Still 17 seconds. You can see on this team, the Book's taken Illuminate for the Sky. Okay. The enemy team has picked up quite a lot of Cauterize and only 1 Wrecker. So the shield on Makoa, as I said, is quite powerful. The Cauterize coming out on the Ying, so there's a bit of survivability issue. The Ying isn't doing too well here. Only 4 assists. And what has our Makoa picked up? Nothing. Okay, they must be waiting to build something up. Maybe they don't have the amount. And again, just going straight face to face with a Torvald. It's not the one that he wants to be going on, because a Torvald can also steal his shield. That's another point I missed on there. He should be looking for the Charlene to drag out, and I think it's just a problem with the team as well. The Cassie is trying to go around the back lines and not focusing on these 2 tanks that she needs to be dropping all their damage down with. That was a good hook on the Charlene. You can actually, when you hook somebody, you drag them around the side of you, and that works especially on Charlene, because when you drag Charlene in, he thinks that he's jumping backwards, but often will just jump into a wall or something. That was quite a good ultimate, just zoning them off there, being quite aggressive with it. But again, leave the Ying on the point here. You don't need to be on the point as a Makoa. You can be very aggressive as a Makoa. And now this is all just wasted time. This is wasted ability to knock people off. As a Torvald's coming straight in here. He could be straight on the point. And he is, and the Makoa's actually pulled him on. Thankfully, the Torvald ultimate doesn't really do anything on this map, so there's that. And he actually should have seen there that the Torvald was using his right click, his shield siphon, to take away the shield. And actually, he just helped out the Torvald there by giving him a higher shield recharge rate. And this time, the Torvald was low, so he was able to drag out and get the kill. And his team were there, so with the team, they're able to take down the Torvald. But when he's on his own, he can't really take on the Torvald, and that's mainly what I'm talking about when I make comments about taking the Torvald on 1v1 and not picking off the Victor, not picking off the Charlene, and not grabbing that Sky as well when he can. Again, he's dragging the Ruckus off, but he's just dragging him to him, and the Ruckus was able to kill him. He should have waited then, because if you see, there were 3 of his allies down. He should have either waited, ran onto the point, and got overtime, or seen if his team would get there in time to help him. But in that case, he just pulled the Ruckus over to him when he was already low health, and then that just allowed the Ruckus to kill him straight up. Again here, they're just trying to zone them on this side. He's right in not being too aggressive here. The Torvald actually putting a good shield on that Sky, saving them from the Makoa there. And he can't actually see anything through that smoke. And again, there's a problem with this Cassie going into the back lines. She got the Sky, but these tanks need to be shredded down. And that's what the Cassie needs to be there for. And I do feel a bit sorry for Defex here. Because he, as the Makoa, isn't really the one to do it. He should have gone there for the Ruckus, because he should have seen that the Ruckus was low. Don't bother with the Torvald. The Torvald does low damage. He's not that great at damage. He can only really keep up allies. And just burst down that Ruckus. He's on his own, and then he's pretty useless. And then you can just burst him down together. Again here, there's like quite, even though he did go and finish that guy off, like now, there's a lot of time being wasted here. There's no aggressive knockoffs of horses. There's no aggressive plays close up, but I think it's a lot of his team as well aren't being aggressive, aren't giving him the space to move up either. But you can just leave that Ying on the objective and let that Ying stay behind you and heal you up. This is another odd ultimate from Torvald. Doesn't really pan out on the Torvald. Unfortunately, Runic Blast, and they were able to take him out. That was just bad positioning by the Torvald, running in on his own. Not really a great tank that stands on his own against a whole enemy team. But now the Makoa should be getting up there with his team, being aggressive. You don't need to stay with the payload. You don't need to stay with your payload at all in these situations. Get up there, get in their faces, and be a nuisance. And like that Torvald there, he wouldn't have been able to get anywhere close to the point, and now he's actually going to go straight onto it, although he is coming on his own, and 2 of their team are already down, so it is actually a bit of a lost hope, but he didn't need to even get anywhere close to that. I think that a lot of zoning is coming out here. That's an issue with this Makoa. Hopefully the Torvald getting confused by the illusions there and able to be taken out. But you can see as well, because there's no Makoa there to help them out, they're getting taken out by one on the flankers on this team, although they were able to defend successfully. I just think that this Makoa could be a lot more aggressive than they are already. Let's see what they pick up item wise. Let's see what the enemy have got. The Ruckus didn't pick up Master Riding. They picked up Morale Boost. Fair enough, and the Torvald picked up Morale Boost as well, although Morale Boost on this map really isn't very useful. So I think they've both made a mistake there. And now Makoa has picked up level 2 Wrecker. That's actually quite a good shout. They're against 2 enemy shield heroes, and also our damage dealer, the Cassie, isn't doing an awful lot to these big tanks, that when she really needs to be putting out a lot of the damage there. So Makoa's taking it into his own hands. He's taking them on close up, so he needs that. The book is actually doing quite well on this map. 13 eliminations now. He's just going after the Sky, I think, with that Illuminate. And coming around again. He's coming to the same window every time, so he probably needs to vary it up. Because, like, look where his allies are going all together on that left-hand side. He could have been up there. He could have been dragging people out. Because with Makoa, one of the best things is to drag one person out and bring them to your allies to burst them down. Here, this ultimate is being used quite well, just being quite aggressive with it. Unfortunately, a bit of a miss there. The Sky can do a lot of damage to the Makoa when they use a right click. And a hook there. Again, he didn't drag him to the side. It didn't matter too much this time. But with only that Victor up and with his allies around, with any hero, when you drag them in, you can always drag them to the side, and it takes longer for them to come out of being stunned, and it gives your allies more chance to shoot at them. That's just a thing to pick up, really, but you need to weigh whether or not there's enemies around. Now caught out by this Sky ultimate. Quite a bit of damage there. And Torvald just been able to be taken out. He isn't in trouble though. It should have maybe just considered. He went the wrong way with his shell spin and just backing up there with one of his allies already down and some in a lot of trouble. I actually think 2 of them were down there because obviously the Cassie's just come back up again. Unfortunately, that is defeat. I really think that positioning could be improved on here. Firstly, coming to the point in the same place every time, trying to go face to face with 2 enemy tanks that you can't really out damage isn't a good idea. With the Makoa, you want to be dragging somebody out to your allies. Unfortunately, 2 of his allies were flankers, so they weren't there to mop that up, and the Cassie was just acting as a flanker as well, and was not having as big an impact on those enemy tanks as she should have been. And you can even see the Buck out-damaged the Cassie in that game with 66,000 damage, and then look now at the Ruckus, who got 82,000 damage over that Cassie. The Cassie really let down the team by being too aggressive there. Even if they have all these eliminations, it doesn't matter when there's the double tank on the point all the time, not being pestered and just basically being ignored. The Makoa, like I said, should have been positioning, going around to the side of that map, trying to drag somebody out to his allies, just watching where his allies were going as well, following them, dragging somebody out to them. He was left a bit on his own because of the flankers, but I think a lot of the time, especially when they were actually winning the point, they weren't being aggressive enough. They weren't taking the fight closer to the enemy base and knocking them off their horses and stopping them from getting into the point in time. They could have left that Jamaro on the point as a healer, and they could have just sat on the point. And Makoa is definitely very good at being aggressive and doing a lot of this zoning. And it is unfortunate that this is the outcome of this game, and I don't think he's played dreadfully. I think that just the team didn't work. The team just didn't work well together, and the Cassie trying to act like a flanker when you've already got two hard flankers in the team, it didn't really work out. And again, item-wise, he could have picked up that. He could have picked up that Master Riding. It could have been an option over his morale boost. He did get the ultimate off a few times, had a few good ultimates, but at the end of the day, Hexfire coming out and his allies being so tanky and having that damage reduction, they aren't exactly the easiest to run into and take out. Again, he was sort of hooking out the Torvald 1v1 and Ruckus 1v1 in their faces just to himself, and a lot of the time that was only bad for him and didn't really do anything to the enemies. He should have been looking for those squishies, pulling them out, taking them out, and then when he's with his allies, taking the tanks out, like the Torvald, and occasionally he did do that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Did it help at all? Have you got any thoughts or tips from this, and do you think that you can improve from the way that and do you think that you can improve after watching this episode and maybe picking up on some of the things that I think Defex did wrong and some of the things that he did right? Be sure to let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. If you didn't, dislike it, and subscribe for more of my content. Until next time, everybody, Joshino.